The laughter in the ballroom was beautiful until it wasn't. Under the shimmering chandeliers, surrounded by tuxedos and diamond necklaces, a single father stood alone, holding a wrinkled invitation that didn't quite belong to hands like his. Mason Hart had never been this far from his comfort zone. His suit was borrowed, one size too big. His shoes, polished to a dull shine, still carried the creases of a man who walked to work instead of driving. He stood there quietly near the edge of the crowd, watching people who lived in a different world. They sipped champagne, spoke of vacations in Italy, and smiled with practiced ease. Mason just wanted to leave until he saw her. Before we dive deeper into Mason's story of heartbreak, courage, and unexpected kindness, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal if you believe that second chances and true kindness can change a person's life. The gala was a fundraiser for underprivileged children, the very reason Mason had been invited. His 8-year-old daughter, Claire, was part of a program funded by the same charity. She was bright, artistic, and resilient despite the loss of her mother 2 years ago. Tonight, Mason wanted to thank the donors who helped sponsor her art therapy sessions. But as he entered the marble-floored venue, it was clear not everyone shared his humility. A group of men near the bar, loud and full of self-importance, glanced his way. One of them smirked, whispering something that made the others burst into laughter. Mason pretended not to notice, but their words echoed. "Guess they're letting anyone in this year." He smiled faintly, clutching the envelope containing his thank you note for the organizers. He didn't want to be seen as a charity case. He was a father doing his best, working as a janitor at a public school, taking extra shifts at night to keep a roof over their heads. His daughter had begged him to come tonight. "Mom would want you to," she had said, tying his old tie around his neck that morning. Mason hadn't been able to say no. When the evening's main event began, the hostess of the night took the stage. Her name was Vivienne Cross, the youngest self-made billionaire in the city, owner of multiple art foundations and the chief sponsor of the program. Claire attended. She was elegance itself, wearing a silver gown that shimmered like water under the lights. Her voice, calm yet commanding, filled the hall as she spoke about the importance of giving back. "Every child deserves a chance to dream," she said, glancing around the room. "And sometimes, those dreams depend on us remembering where we came from." The applause was polite but distant. The wealthy guests were more interested in the upcoming auction, rare art pieces, luxury trips, and exclusive dinners. Mason listened quietly, feeling smaller by the minute. When his turn came to approach the stage for the Parent Stories segment, where beneficiaries shared brief words of gratitude, he took a deep breath and stepped forward. As he began to speak, a hush fell. He wasn't eloquent, not trained in speeches or polish. His voice trembled slightly, but his words carried truth. "I'm not used to being in rooms like this," he admitted. "But I'm here because of what your help has meant to my daughter. Claire lost her mom 2 years ago. I've been doing my best, but I couldn't afford the things she needed. Until your foundation stepped in. You gave her art lessons, therapy, and hope. So thank you." A quiet murmur spread through the crowd, but not all were kind. One man muttered just loud enough for others to hear, "He's thanking us for charity. How touching." Another laughed under his breath. Mason heard it. His hands clenched the microphone tighter, but he didn't respond. He just finished his speech, thanked them again, and walked off the stage as politely as he could. But what happened next changed everything. When the auction began, laughter returned to the hall. Guests bid thousands on diamond pendants and exotic vacations. Mason stayed near the back, intending to slip away unnoticed. Then came the surprise announcement. "Our final item of the night," Vivienne said, her tone playful yet firm. "Something different. We're auctioning an act of kindness, an anonymous donation to help a struggling parent from our program. Whoever bids tonight won't just give money. They'll change a family's life." Mason froze. The spotlight shifted, illuminating him where he stood. His breath caught. He wasn't supposed to be part of this. It was supposed to be anonymous. But the host had seen his speech, and his sincerity had moved her. The whispers began again.
"Oh, it's him, the single dad from the stage. How quaint."
The auctioneer started at 5 zlozen, hands shot up, then 10 zlozen. Mason's heart raced as numbers climbed higher. He didn't understand why these people were bidding so fiercely, until he noticed Vivienne, still standing at the podium, her gaze never leaving his. The bids kept rising to 25,000, 50,000. Then one woman in the front, a blonde socialite known for her vanity, smirked and called out, 55! Let's make him feel special tonight. Laughter rippled across the hall. Mason felt humiliated, his cheeks burning. He wanted the floor to swallow him whole. Then Vivian raised her hand. $100,000, she said calmly. The room fell silent. Every head turned. The socialite's smile faltered. Mason couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Vivian looked directly at him. And I bid not to make him feel small, but because kindness should never be mocked. The applause that followed wasn't polite anymore. It was real, echoing through the ballroom as if people finally remembered what the night was supposed to mean. The laughter died, replaced by a quiet respect. Mason's eyes blurred with tears. For the first time in years, someone had stood up for him, not out of pity, but dignity. After the event, as guests filtered out, Mason stood outside the grand building beneath a pale moonlight, trying to process everything. He didn't expect her to come after him, but she did. Vivienne approached, her heels clicking softly on the stone path. "Mr. Hart," she said gently, her tone far different from the commanding voice at the podium. "I hope I didn't embarrass you." He shook his head. "No, ma'am. You did the opposite." She smiled faintly. "You reminded me of my father. He was a single dad too. We didn't have much, but he believed in giving what little we had. People mocked him for it. That's why I started this foundation. So good people like him, and you wouldn't be forgotten." Mason looked down, his throat tight. "I just want to give my daughter a better life." Vivienne nodded. "And you will, because you've already given her something money can't buy. Love, an example. The rest I can help with." The following weeks felt surreal. Vivienne's foundation offered Mason a position, not charity but opportunity. He became a community coordinator, helping other struggling parents find resources and hope. His work ethic, humility, and quiet strength earned him admiration. His daughter Claire thrived, her artwork displayed in local galleries. But perhaps the most unexpected change was the growing bond between Mason and Vivienne. She would often visit their small home, sharing dinners, laughing with Claire, and slowly, without meaning to, becoming part of their world. There was one sunny afternoon, months later, when Mason found himself standing beside Vivienne at a children's art fair. Claire was painting under a tent, her little face glowing with joy. "You know," Vivienne said softly, watching her, "when I bid that night, people thought it was for charity. But it wasn't. It was for belief. Belief that someone like you deserved to be seen, not pitied." Mason turned to her, eyes warm. "And you made me believe that kindness still exists." She smiled, a quiet, knowing smile. "It does, Mason. Sometimes it just needs someone brave enough to remind the world." The crowd around them cheered as the children unveiled their paintings. Claire's piece, a father and daughter standing beneath a starry sky, was chosen for display. She ran to Mason, hugging him tightly. "We did it, Daddy," she cried. Mason lifted her up, laughing through tears. Vivienne watched, her heart full. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky gold, she turned to Mason and said softly, "Maybe next year you'll help me host the gala." He chuckled. "Me? I don't think I belong on a stage like that." Her gaze lingered on him, tender and certain. "You belong wherever kindness lives." In that moment, something unspoken passed between them. Not romance born of wealth or rescue, but connection born of respect and shared humanity. The kind that doesn't fade when the lights go out. Mason looked at the horizon, holding his daughter close. For the first time in years, the future didn't scare him. It felt open, alive, and full of grace. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal, because every view, every comment helps spread stories that remind us there's still good in this world. And before this story ends, tell us in the comments below, do you believe that one act of kindness can truly change a life? Because for Mason Hart it did.